Welcome to Mobile Math, Math Lessons on the Go. Today's learning goal, by the end of this lesson, I should be able to evaluate mixed addition and subtraction problems without the use of a calculator. So we have a new word here. We've talked about sum, add, and total having similar meaning. Difference, subtract, take away all have similar meaning. Our new word is evaluate, and it means find the number answer. So it can involve both adding and subtracting. So when we're finished an evaluate problem, we should come up with a final answer, but it may take more than one type of operation. Quick review of our big ideas. I'll give you a moment if you need to pause and reread this. We've talked about subtracting a positive number is the same as adding a negative number. We've talked about subtracting a negative number is the same as adding a positive number. If you need to review those concepts, go back and watch the previous videos again. Take a moment here and pause and reread this if you have to. Otherwise, we're going to keep going and get started right here. So I'm going to look at evaluate the following. Negative 13 subtract 14, so that's 13 negative chips take away 14 positive chips. Now I don't want to spend a lot of time drawing chips here, so I'm going to use the sort of hybrid model. So I'm going to show 13 in the negative side as a 10 and a 3, and then I want to take away 14 positive chips. But you can see in the integer chip model here that I don't have any positive chips to take away. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a zero pair with a 14 and a 14 on each side. So these are a zero pair. So now when I go to take away 14 positive chips, all I have to do is grab my eraser and I erase them, and I can look for the total now of negative chips. And I could use my column model here, I could use my number models I'm going to do in a second, and what I should see is that I have 27 negative chips. So the answer here would be negative 27. If I use my number model, I'm going to use one of my big ideas right away. So subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative, and that's going to allow me to break my numbers down a little bit further. So you'll see that negative 13 becomes negative 10 and a negative 3. The negative 14 becomes a negative 10 and a negative 4. If I collect my negative 10s together, I end up with negative 20. If I collect my 1s together, so I have negative 3 and negative 4 together to make negative 7, and then I can bring those both together at the end for the same answer of negative 27. So let's go a little bit larger. I'm going to start with 24, take away or subtract negative 11 plus negative 7. So I want to start with 24 positive chips. Well, right away I can see that's too many chips to start pulling down and dragging down. So I'm going to use my hybrid model again, and I'm going to express 24. I might do this a couple of ways. I might start with a 20 and a 4, and then it says take away 11 negative chips. Now right away I can see I don't have any negatives, so I might use another zero pair here. Okay, so now I at least have some negatives to take away, and then it's going to say add 7 negatives, and we'll do that in a second. So let's take care of step 1 here in the blue. So subtracting 11 negatives, so I'm going to grab my brush here and I'm going to erase those negatives, and then I'm going to move over and I'm going to add 7 negatives. And now all I have to do is total up or figure out how much is left over. So that might involve taking this 11 and breaking it down into a 4 and a 7. And then I can see I have a zero pair here, which will cancel off. And then I just have to total up what's left in the positive column. So 20 plus 4 is a total of 28. If you find that too confusing, too many steps, you might like the number model. And again, I'm going to use my big idea here. So I'm going to look at this one right here first. So subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. And for me, I find it's really useful to take a line and write that down. Otherwise, I tend to make silly mistakes. From there, I'm going to break up the positive numbers into their 10s and 1s. And I'm going to work with the positive numbers first. So I broke down the 24 into 20 plus a 4, the 11, a 10 plus a 1. I'm going to group my 10s together. So 20 plus 10 is 30. 4 plus 1 is 5, so I've taken care of all the positives. And now I'm going to look at the negative values and say, well, I have a positive 5 here. If I broke the negative 7 down into a negative 5 and a negative 2, these two right here would zero each other out and cancel themselves out of the problem, which makes it a little bit smaller. I'm then left with a positive 30 plus two negatives. Those are hopefully fairly friendly numbers, and I get the same answer of 28. So if you'd like to take a moment and pause the video right here, these are going to take you a few minutes to try. I have 4 problems that I'll show you the answers to when you get back from trying them. So press pause now, please. Take your best efforts, and then we'll show you the solutions. Okay, welcome back. So hopefully you've had a chance to try these. So what I will do is I'll just reveal them all. I'm not going to go through each one of them. So the answers to questions 1 through 4 will be 12, 9, 44, and negative 49. Now those are fairly tricky by the time you get to the end. So if you have to try them again or 2 or 3 times, that's completely acceptable. But you do have the solutions there. You can always check your answers to those. So thank you for watching. Please watch again and pause where you may have had difficulties, and good luck in your future math problems.